Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Let's Play Zelda Classics Randomizer Modern. I'm Nitro6003, and we're going to start this one by Hero of Fire this time. We're going to do the default randomization and see what we get. Now, Hero of Fire has done a lot of randomizers over the years, and this is one of the earlier ones. There's been several changes even to this, but I'll try to explain as much as I can. Alright, let's see what's in the first cave here. We start off with the wooden sword. Always a good item to start with. So you have your overworld map function. You have your timer function, which is always nice. And so the way I like to play this quest essentially is when I open a bush or start looking for expansions, I'll leave one enemy on a screen, but for right now, since I'm not doing that, it doesn't matter. But when I do start doing the overworld expansions, I will leave one enemy on the screen for my own memory's sake to make sure that I don't forget anything, because it's really easy to miss something in the overworld if you're not careful. So it just helps my memory a little bit to remember which items I've gotten and which places I've opened and which places I haven't. Now, right now what I'm looking for is some bombs. By the way, clocks are temporary in this quest, in case you were wondering. And there's not a lot you need to buy. Money should not be that big of an issue for you in this quest. There are wallet upgrades, of course. You start off being able to hold 255 rupees, and you can by the end of the game you'll be able to hold 999. In other randomizers, that changes drastically, and we get the blue candle early. That is good. So I have a specific way I do the levels in this quest here. Basically what I do is I start with try to do all the early levels, like level 1-1, which is the eagle, level 1-2, which is the moon. I do those first. You know, basically what you call, you know, the early time levels, and then I do, you know, to get my basic items, and then after that I will, you know, break things apart and see what I can get and where. White sword, yes, all right. Getting the white sword early is always a good thing, because now I can one-shot these guys. Now, there is an expansion on this screen, but I'll get it later, because I'll have to come back for enemy bait anyway, so I'll get that later. So now let's go see what is in the white sword's location, where we originally get the white sword. I have gotten, by the way, 3 sword upgrades that quickly. Like where I bombed earlier to get the candle, that sometimes has been the white sword for me. And then where I got the white sword just now has been the magical sword. So I have gotten sword upgrades pretty early, but you can't depend on it. Oh, red candle. Alright, so this quest wants me to use the candle early, I guess. Because usually I don't get the red candle that quickly, but it helps because now I can burn as much as I want. The only thing I don't like about this quest, if I were to pick one thing... Oh, I can't get that hard, can I? Is I don't like the fact that the Z-axis rule is on. So essentially you cannot hit enemies when they're in the air. But that's really my only problem with this quest, if I were to pick one thing. So... And of course, the levels that you can go into early all depend on what items you get. And that is an arrow expansion. Now, I could do level 1, but before I do... Oh, very nice. Before I do level 1, there's at least one more item I can get. Yeah, having the white sword early is really a good thing. I mean, I have had runs where I have not gotten a sword upgrade till the end, so it has happened to me before. It's pretty... It's not necessarily... I mean, I've had it where I've had the white sword all the way through level 9, but I've gotten other items to compensate. Like, I've gotten remote bombs or whatever the case would be, so... Ah, there's bombs. Good, good, good. Now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the magical sword. Sorry, not the magical sword. The magical shield early because I want to go into the graveyard and see what's there. And in order to go into the graveyard successfully, you really need to have the magical shield. But, you know what, before I do that, I'm going to go take out level 1. And that just tells you about a secret somewhere in this area. That's one of the levels. We'll get to that shortly. Alright, so, by the way, this trick does not work. You cannot enter and exit the level and think that the door will open. That only happens in the original NES First Quest. So the items you want to try to look for early, the most important items for you to get are the bow and arrow, a step ladder or raft, and/or feather, and/or flippers. You know, any of those items are imperative. The whistle, the power bracelet, a candle. I happen to have gotten 2 of them already. Let me think what else. By the way, I will be doing map completion in this quest, so I will be showing off all the dead ends and stuff like that. And I think I mentioned, if I didn't mention the whistle, I'm mentioning it now. And I will be doing most, if not all, the randomizers. The only one I'm not going to do is the original randomizer. The first one that Hero of Fire did. Not because I can't, because there's really not a lot of change that you could do in that one. Or you could change some of the options, but you know, it's harder in some ways, but you know, there's no this one's a much better balanced quest, so and they're after it, so oops. And yes, you can drown in this quest too. And yes, our Goriah is still in here. See what we get in this neck of the woods. And yes, there are also boss keys in this quest. And that is, I believe that's spin attack. Yeah, that's spin attack. So what that allows you to do is, now I have kind of like a mock master magical sword. As long as I do the full spin attack. Another thing it could do is it could help you find bombable walls too. So it'll help you with that. But since I pretty much know where everything is, I don't necessarily need it for that. And I probably won't be using it that often. And by the way, you can also attack from the doorway. That was not necessarily the smartest thing I've ever done. Magical sword! Yes! Alright. Nice. Well, that helps us out tremendously. Now, if I can get some help from these wall masters, that would be nice. Alright, we are set. There's only 2 more sword upgrades. The silver sword and the gold sword. And the end of the dungeon prize, heart container. And there are 30 hearts in this quest. And now that I have the magical sword, that makes my next decision even easier. Because I'm going to go do level 2 next. Yeah, having the magical sword basically means I'm probably never going to use the Cane of Burna, or very unlikely to use the Cane of Burna. And there is a level here which we won't be getting till much later. So let us see what we get in level 2. It won't match what we just got in the last one with the magical sword, but and you shouldn't really have to buy arrows, so to speak. Yeah, see, now these guys go down in 1 hit, which makes your life easier. And just more money there. And more arrows, good. I'm gonna get some of the expansions now, just because they're on my way. I'll pick up those bombs. And here's level 2. And that treasure chest that you just saw, when it's gray like that, means you have not found all the potential items. When it is gold, you have. And there's your boss key. You don't want to get to the end and not have the boss key, that's for sure. And another key. And now Gorias go down in 1 hit. Or at least those Gorias do. And it's really nice that you can attack from the doorway. So it makes this room even easier. So I can just take my time. Actually, I don't even need to because I have the magical sword and these guys go down in 2 hits now. Oh, that's the cross. That's a good item to get early. So now there's no more invisible enemies for me. And what's nice about having the magical sword is these Salphoses go down in 1 hit also. Pick up the compass. Leave him alone. So just more Stalfoses here. And a clue that you should already know about the Dongos. So I'll probably end the video after this level because this will be a nice introduction to the quest. So I'll have done a lot of exploration. Uh-oh. Oh, thank God for that hurt. That's so nice to have the magical sword early. And let's see, what is our end of the dungeon prize here? Blue ring. All right. All right. So join me next time as we continue on in Randomizer Modern. I'm Nitro6003. I'll see you guys all next time.